Shadows fall, still the stars find their way. Awaken from a quiet sleep, hear the whispering of the wind. Awaken as the silence grows in a solitude of the night. Darkness spreads throughout the land, and your weary eyes open silently. Sunsets have forsaken all the most far of the horizons. Nightmares come when shadows grow. Eyes closed and heartbeats slow. Fear not this night, you will not go astray. Though shadows fall, still the stars find a way, and you can always be strong. Lift your voice with the first light of dawn. Dawn's just a heartbeat away. Hope's just a sunrise away. Distant sounds of melodies calling through the night to your heart. Auroras, mists and echoes dance in the solitude of our life. Bleeding scenarios, gently grieving in captive misery. Darkness sings a forlorn song, yet our hope can still rise up. Nightmares come when shadows roll. Lift your voice, lift your heart. Fear not this night, you will not go astray. Though shadows fall, still the stars find a way. And though the night sky is filled with blackness, fear not, rise up. Hold on tight, take my hand. Fear not this night, you will not go astray. Though shadows fall, stars fall away. Fear not this night, you will not go astray. Though shadows fall, stars fall away, and you can always be strong. Lift your voice with the first light of dawn. Dawn's just a heartbeat away.
Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is Paper Roll. In today's video I want to update my Soul Beast solo build for open world PvE. It was my best build probably in the channel and my most famous video or most watched, and it's about time we update it. This was my main build since the release of Path of Fire until the release of End of Dragon, so I can't remember, like for 5 years or something like that, and I have done many solo videos in it. I soloed every bounty I could think of, legendaries, champions. I even claimed guild hall solo, done a lot of things solo with it. And if you have checked the last solo video I made for Soul Beast, you found I even can kill Zawadi right now and Max Stoker, even with somehow magnetic bolts and accuracy to do it, but it still can do it. So in this video we'll see and check how this build fare right now and how good it is. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And we're gonna start with the traits. So it is a quite standard condition ranger, as we usually choose our best combination of traits, and it running skirmishing and one survival. You get your swiftness, fury, and extra critical chance and damage from the miners, and you get bleed on critical chance for both you and your pet. And we have two styles of gear here, so one of them will have a lot of critical chance, which is Celestial, so it is beneficial anyway, and the other choices are not really relevant. And you get hidden barbs, which mean all your bleeding do 33% extra damage. It's necessary for condition builds. If you run in short bone, because there's other choices, you will use light on your feet. If you don't run it, you will go with vicious quarry for extra damage, obviously. And awareness survival will give you the faster endurance regeneration, protection on dodges, and all protection from any source will heal both of you and your pet. Those are the minors and go very well with your survivability. And we take taste for danger for extra condition duration from turning vitality, 7% of vitality to expertise, and it gives us higher vitality too. And we go with ambidexterity for higher condition damage and lowers the cooldown of both torch and dagger skills, which we use both of them in this build. And we go with wilderness knowledge for the fury to help also with sharpened edges. Beside, obviously it is for condition cleansing. You can mess around with this build a bit, we will talk on weapon choices. You can go with something like Poison Master and run something like Bear Stance. There is some freedom on what you can do, but obviously if you want the higher survivability, the healing whenever you need, Troll Ingwant is your best ally, and you go with survival skills, and this way you don't lose this much damage honestly with going without Poison Master. However, we have a lot of poison in this build, so it is really up to you, but this is how I like to play it, and have multiple choices of condition cleanses, like 3 skills at least. But you can freely go with Poison Master and change your healing skill so it be very strong as a condition cleanse, and you use it with some care. Now for Soul Beast itself, the miners open to you the abilities of, or the mechanic of Soul Beast. It gives you extra 10% damage, power damage for when you have Fury, so it is a bit relevant if you're running Celestial. And the last one give you both damage and condition damage for both power and condition when you disable an enemy for 10 seconds. So you need some CC to trigger this, obviously. Now for our choices, I go with Live Fast, since most of the time if you don't need the survivability from your pet, then you focus completely on damage. So you merge it with your pet and you never dismerge. This is the general idea. So it's worth it to have extra quickness and fury from every time you use a beast ability. Most of the time I used to, in the old version, run Unstoppable Union because I used to focus so much on survivability, and I would merge and unmerge actually when I needed this protection for more healing and to break free from enemy. Especially that we weren't able to swap bits, and I will get that into the bit section how much this Soul Beast got buffed. And we are not running a bone build, so it's very useless to run something like Fresh Reinforcement. So that's why I'm running with Live Fast. Now the second one, I run Predator's Cunning, since we do some poison, so it's extra damage and extra survivability. It's very good and useful to run with this build. And also I go with Oppressive Superiority for simply higher damage. You can run something like Leader of the Pack just to help your allies with your own stunts. Eternal Bond is completely unnecessary, even if it is fun to use, but it is up to you. Obviously I went with the higher damage option, since Oppressive Superiority will give you increased damage and condition duration the moment the enemy have lower health percentage than you. So if you're hitting an enemy just after the raid started, they are 90% or 95% and you're 100%, this trait is consistent with you. Even if you go lower, you just heal back up and it will work again. So this is generally how I go with my traits. Now let's go with the gear. So I'm running Celestial gear, full Celestial. However, you can run it with Slayer Blazer. It will be more tanky and very strong to run around in normal mobs, even most up to champions, it's very tanky, very useful, and comfortable to use. However, the moment you need your pet to tank to you, it's gonna be a very difficult game. And it happened to me when I'm trying to solo the turncoat, the bounty. Since there is a lot of enemy he summon and all of them keep evading all the time and attacking and stuff, once I unmerge, my pet, since I have a lot of toughness, does not aggro them, does not ball the enemy from me, no matter how much toughness he have, because I have a lot of toughness. I'm here, I have only 1600 or let's say 700, but with Trailblazer I'm going close to 2k or more, so I found it very difficult, and the enemy will stick to me most of the time, which means I don't have consistent healing like an Untamed, for example, nor insane control like Druid. So besides that, even like Druid, I can run into Trailblazer, but my pet is out all the time, which means the enemy have time to aggro to it and they stick to it most of the time. But for me, since I'm merging and I'm the only enemy, when I unmerge, my pet does not ball them from me, unless I'm running Celestial, so my toughness is much lower, so the enemy will go to it at least like 90% of the time. And that is the main reason why I'm running Celestial, is to be able to ball the enemy from me to my pet whenever I need to. And something very good with the fact that we can swipe bits right now is you're consistently merged with Bristleback and you never unmerge. Whenever you need to survive, only things have changed. So you unmerge right now and you go to Turtle. The problem with this, if you go to a bit like it heal, we usually use Jacaranda, for example, it will not help you, it will not do anything. You will wait for the cooldown of Beast Mode to pass, 10 seconds, and merge with Jacaranda and start healing yourself. The higher survivability from Turtle comes from the bubble, because the bubble will stop the projectiles coming to you, will give both of you protection, lowering any damage that coming after that, and don't forget that protection actually heal you from rugged growth, which means it will constantly keep healing you just by that. And when the beast mode duration come off cooldown, you merge after the bubble disappear, all the bubble will disappear immediately, as you can see right now. If we use the bubble and merge, the bubble disappear immediately, it doesn't go for the complete duration. And then you can heal, which means we are not stuck if we are not running Eternal Bond, waiting between a rotation of waiting this bit, going to this bit, wait for the Soul Beast mode. No, just an unmerge and swipe bits immediately is enough to start constantly giving you the survivability you need. It's already access to the tool, which is very beneficial, and why Turtle is the best choice in many builds that you can run for Ranger right now. Now back to the gear. This is why I said I'm running Celestial. And I'm running also a completely normal style like every other Condition Ranger I made right now. It's very good for solo builds to run Trapper Rune, Sigil of Ferality and Malice in both your weapons, and Relic of Aristocracy. This combo will give you very high condition duration, because Celestial already given you condition duration and condition damage. Trapper Rune will give you the highest amount of condition damage possible combined with condition duration. So it's 15% with 300 condition damage. Malice will give you an extra 10% for all your condition duration, and Ferality will give 2 stacks of vulnerability on the enemy for 8 seconds. Obviously the 8 seconds is increased by your own condition duration every 2 seconds if you're flanking the enemy. So in normal mobs it will not be this beneficial, and you will get 1 stack, 2 stacks, stuff like that. It will not be happening all the time. But every time this happens, you will get a stack of Aristocracy on an internal cooldown of 1 second, up to 5 stacks. 1 stack of Aristocracy is 3% condition duration. But also remember, any defiant bar enemy like Champion, Legendary, anything that have a defiance bar will count as always flanking. So this sigil will always trigger. Any effect that need flanking, hitting from the side or behind, anywhere around the enemy beside the 45 angle in front of them is flanking, will trigger Sigil of Ferality, which means it will get this to a maximum stack, up to 15% of condition duration. So as you can see, I'm going very close to 100. Besides, I'm already getting 10% from here. On short bow, I can get extra 10% that is stackable anytime I use a dodge or use a skill 3 in short bow. So I'm easily breaking 100% almost all the time for all my condition, for my poison, bleeding, burning, anything. So for my weapons, I run dagger and torch and shortbow, but you can also run axe and warhorn or axe and dagger. There is two forms also of running this. Remember that the trait ambidexterity give us extra 120 condition damage and extra if you're running a torch or a dagger. So let's say you're running dagger and torch, and the other hand you run axe and warhorn, then you won't get the extra 120. So you better run axe and torch and dagger and warhorns the same way I made it with my Untamed and my Druid, for example. So how about the damage? If you're running the other weapon style, you will go with Vicious Quarry, and if you're running 4 rotation, like you keep rotating between your weapon accurately and go from another one to the other one, the highest damage skills, you will have higher damage, like 1k and a half or even more, but it's not as convenient and as relaxing as running shortbow. Remember, most of the time you want to merge with your bit unless you absolutely need not to, or you will lose damage. Your bit give you extra skills, it give you extra stats, condition damage and precision, so you need a range weapons that you can count on. If you run axe and torch, that means half of your damage come from a melee attack, which is a torch. If you run axe and warhorn, you lose some damage, and even if you're far, the CC, for example, from skill 5 come from melee only, so it's not as convenient. You don't have a condition on your auto attack, so I didn't really like it. Even if it's accurately have higher damage, this one is more convenient. And if you need it to be in range only, like there is burn in the ground and stuff like that, you can't go in melee, so you stay for range for a long time, you end up doing on short bow very close damage to axe torch, and probably higher damage than axe warhorn. So it's not really that beneficial to run axe and torch or warhorn. That's why I really enjoy short bow better. And remember, this is an open world PvE. You don't focus this much on rotation, DPS and stuff like that. How the build work, and if it have enough damage and enough survivability, that means it's enough. The more the merrier, as they say, but it's not about the numbers. The build is need to work as a whole and function correctly and fulfill what you need from an open world build. So that's for my gears, that's for my weapon choices. Let's talk a little bit about my skills and bit choices. Again, the same old build, we run Bursted Back. This is the form that you will be on most of the time, or normally. You will get Primal Cries that got buffed with adding poison to it, and now with our choices we'll get quickness, we'll put vulnerability, everything. And you get sharpened spines and rain of spike, which mean from range you can land those skills while moving and hit multiple enemies, which is very good. And even if you have one enemy, you will put the full damage on him, completely fine. That's why it is without a doubt the best bit for damage if you run a soul beast like that. And the other bit, as we explained in survivability, you simply unmerge if you need, turn to turtle and use the bubble for protection. Protection will heal you from rugged growth, and the turtle lowers the damage coming to you. Once the bubble ends, you merge with it and you can heal. If you're standing face tanking an enemy, you can do that. If you're simply needing to sustain yourself but you not need to kite, and simply apply her damage too, and you can unmerge and switch back to Bursted Back whenever is possible and go back to doing your damage, or keep your bit up to tank to you. So turtle replaced Jacaranda for us, and it is way much valuable, way more. For our choices is Troll Engwant, but like we said, you can go with Bear Stance. If you are going with something like Poison Master, it's really up to you, but it's not that much loss of a damage anyway, so I'm going with Troll Engwant obviously. Doliac Stance is one of the most powerful stun breaks in the entire game. It will give you not only a stun break, it will also give you multiple stacks of stability so you don't get repeatedly CC'd, and that's why we can risk and go with only one stun break, which is a method we do with many builds right now. And you can't be catched, you can't be moved, chilled or anything, so you can start moving from the enemy if you're in danger while you're fighting. We go with Sharpened Stone for higher damage, and also Vulture Stance for poison, might, and poison will heal us from this trait, Predator Scanning. And we again running Entangle, since we are mostly a condition build, so Entangle will help us with break defense bar because of the immobilize, and also do a lot of bleed. It's another condition cleanse, and it will cleave multiple enemies around us simply by bleeding them. Which gets me to another point. This build struggle a bit with breaking defense bar. That's why for Max Stalker, for example, I used a magnetic bolts. we are not running the main source of constant CC that we used to run, which is Child of Earth for higher condition damage or duration, and we count on our short bow mostly. So if you run short bow or if you run an axe, you have a soft condition that will constantly keep defense bar going down, which is immobilize. This was not reliable before the update that changed how defense bar work, because you will not always land the immobilize. It's not that reliable to count on it for breaking the defense bar and preventing it from regenerating before it breaks. However, right now, every time you hit it, you will land this immob. You will land your stun. You will land this immob also. You will use your bit like turtle to land her CC, and again, you will get slow from this skill. So slow from dagger and then immob from short bow, you constantly will keep any defense bar going down. But that's not very hard, not very fast enough, but it is possible, and that's why I gave up using Child of Earth for an extra damage. But it's mainly soft breaks. You only have one stun build, so if you need to do it fast, it can become quite a problem. So if you don't care to increase your damage this much, and it's not really that big of a difference, it's 7% only from your vitality, you can run Child of Earth, heal under your enemy's feet, and it will bowl the slow and give initial immobilization, which is an extra condition cleanse and fury anyway, and it can be very useful. Now for the rotation, you need to start on dagger and torch, but that's for an accurate rotation. Most of the time for PvE you will start actually on short bow when you want to hit your enemy from far. You won't engage in melee, you want to cleave with dagger and torch, not really initiate the combat with it. So most of the time these things will work differently in open world. However, this for an accurate rotation or an accurate damage representation, you will start with dagger and torch and then move to short bow, because the stun trigger from here give you this trait twice as vicious, and you can also start triggering light on your feet, will ramp up your damage that you already applied from torch and will give you higher damage actually from starting on short bow. Other than that, you spam your skills as much as you can and wait only for valuable cooldown. So you wait for dagger 3 for the quickness and slow for an enemy like defense bar. You wait for bonfire if it's less than 10 seconds or less than 7 seconds. No need to switch weapon and then go back to it. Stuff like that. Other than that, you simply go in and spam your skills and then move from a weapon to another. And try, if possible, to time vulture stance as much as you can with multiple hits. It have an internal cooldown of only quarter second, so some of your skill can take longer, which means you will lose some of its damage if it didn't time well. So let's compare this build and talk about the stat of it. So this build on its own is very strong and can do most things on the game. It is buffed already, you do better damage and Primal Cry work better. You can switch bits right now, so you have a survival option to work at all. And you choose to do more damage with Vulture stance. If you play accurately with the higher survivability, you don't need the extra stance break. So the build in general do more damage. It was about 11 or 11.5k before End of Dragon, and right now it's about 14 or 14.5 if you're very good with the way you apply your damage. So it's much better, it is buffed, the beta choice is buffed. However, if we compare it with other ranger choices like Untamed that can scale very high up to more than 16 or 17k if you're running full survival, and even if you're running the damage with the quickness trait, it still have more survivability and it can go very close to 20k just in solo open world. Your bits is stronger, you have higher ways to tank, you don't have to give up your bit anytime. Druid even is the same, so Soul Beast is quite unfavored. It is fun, it is best to enjoy from range. Your bit will give you extra skills, you can stick to short bow all the time and unload a lot of the damage on it. With Sharpened Stone from far, Vulture stance, even the skills you get from your bit itself, so it's very enjoyable like this. And most of the things it can do very well, very fast, with an incredibly initial burst. But it fall out of favor on how powerful especially Untamed can be. So I don't see myself really recommending this one this much, but that sounds like I'm not recommending a warrior because ranger is stronger or something like that. So no, feel free to play it, it's very good build anyway, and it's capable on doing almost anything as you saw in the solo video. And for the food, still the same thing, I'm running Corsair Toning Crystal, and I came back to running Tropical Peppermint Cake since its mango pie increased in price significantly, they became the same price. So I went to this one, they do the same thing, except this one will increase you higher karma by 10% from anything you do. So I went again with Tropical Peppermint Cake. And like I said, all my gear is Celestial, I'm running all condition damage infusions, and we went through everything. So this will be it for the video. Drop any question you want in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will be seeing you next time. Peace.